how to romanticize your life when you're feeling unmotivated. This video is going to be for anybody who has been feeling a little bit stuck in their day-to-day routine. Maybe you're in a rut, maybe you're waking up and scrolling on your phone for hours and hours just to realize that it's the afternoon and you haven't done anything with your day. I personally have had so many days like that where I feel like I wake up and I'm just going through the motions and I'm not truly present and being there in my life. And I just want to remind you that you are not alone if you are also feeling the same exact way. I feel like we all go through slower seasons in life, whether or not we want to post that on social media or be honest with ourselves. We all have periods of times where we're just not in the best place, not where we want to be. But I feel like I've really been in this chapter of my life of wanting to dial in on my mindset. I've been wanting to grow and explore the ways that I can truly be the dream version of myself. And I want to genuinely learn about the parts that make me who I am. So I thought in today's video, I would share some of the newfound knowledge that I have on my journey so far on how I have been romanticizing my life, even on the days that I feel unmotivated. Tip number 1 is reconnect with your inner child. One of the most simplest ways that I found to bring joy back into my days is reconnecting with my inner child. And honestly, I was the person who had heard about this time and time again on TikTok, and I just kept ignoring it. I just didn't really see the value in it. I was being a little bit lazy and didn't want to actually try it. But actually trying it, I realized how healing and how beneficial it is taking the time to connect with your inner child. The other day, I bought myself some flowers. If you guys can see, they're right there. And I was cutting the stems without the pressure of making the most perfect, aesthetic, Instagram ready bouquet. And I was just letting myself cut the flowers the way that I wanted, put them in the vase however I wanted to. And honestly, I felt like a little kid again, just playing with flowers, vasing them, making them pretty, no pressure, no expectations. And it was one of the most gratifying, like mood boosting experiences that I've had in a while. Like, I genuinely mean it when honestly that alone boosted my mood that day so much. When we were younger, joy came from the most simplest of things. Coloring in your coloring book, baking in your easy bake oven, dancing around your room to Justin Bieber Baby, just littlest things. But somewhere along the way, as we get older, we start telling ourselves that all those things are a waste of time, quote unquote, but they're not. They're actually just reminders of who we are at our core and things that genuinely make us happy. So take a second to think about what your younger self loved, whether or not that was baking cookies, whether or not that was making friendship bracelets for your friends, having a pillow and blanket fort in your living room, whatever it was. Revisiting those activities for even just a few minutes out of your day is such a great way to not only reconnect with your inner child, but truly make your adult self happier. Tip number 2 is change your environment. I realized that when I am feeling unmotivated, it's usually not just me being in a mood or hangry, but usually the environment or space that I'm actually in. Being in the same space, looking at the same walls, looking at the same corners, working from the same spot in your house every single day, it all just becomes redundant and the days start merging into one. But I realized that moving somewhere new, even if it's just for a little while, for example, going to a coffee shop and getting work done there, or taking your book and reading it at a park instead of in your room, those little changes always give me a fresh perspective and is usually exactly what I'm looking for. And time again, it just reminds me of how much influence our environment has on our energy, our creativity, and our overall mood. The value in this, I think, is remembering that you don't need to overhaul your entire life to feel a shift. Sometimes all it is just changing where you currently are and giving yourself a new space to think, be creative, tap in with how you're feeling, and open your eyes to opportunities that are probably right in front of you that you weren't seeing before. Tip number 3 is gentle reminders for the heart. This one This one has been really big for me lately. I have had so many days in the past where if I could only show up and give 20% that day, immediately I was thinking, you're a failure, you're lazy, you're not serious about your goals. And I'll admit, I used to struggle with this a lot, so I'm quite experienced on this point in particular. But what I've been learning is that slower days are actually just a part of the process. They are just days where your mind and your body is asking for you to slow down. In fact, I've actually started trying this little mental exercise that I'll share with you guys. And it starts with me, instead of asking myself, did I check everything off my to-do list today? I'll ask myself, did I show up in at least one way that counts? And I'll explain what I mean by this. Even if all I did was cook a healthy meal at home, go to the gym, read 10 pages out of a self-improvement book, all those things still count. That is still me showing up in at least one way that is pushing the needle forward towards my goals. And I truly think that the real shift finally comes when we notice how we talk to ourselves about slow days. Instead of framing them as unproductive, we can choose to reframe them as necessary. They are the days that give us the rest that builds the clarity that we need to make decisions. They are the days that recharge us to feel inspired and go create and chase after our goals and our dreams. Truly, I think that is when our rest days stop feeling like they're lost and just feel like they become a part of the process. Tip number 4 is romanticize evenings. If you guys follow me on TikTok, you will see that I post a lot about my nighttime, evening, romanticizing routines, all of that jazz. I post a lot about it there. So evenings are probably my favorite time to reset, especially on the days where I'm feeling stuck or unmotivated. No matter how that particular day went, I've realized that the way I choose to end it can completely shift the way that I feel about it. And so the other night I dimmed the lights, I lit a little fall apple orchard candle, and I pulled out my Let Them Theory Mel Robbins book and just started reading and enjoying my evening and romanticizing it like I was in a movie. And honestly, I think it's as simple as that. That is really the magic in romanticizing your evenings. It's about creating little rituals that you look forward to, and you really need to figure out what it is for you in particular. It might be journaling, it might be the candles, it might be watching a movie. For everybody, it's so different, but you just need to realize like what makes you happy and then add it to your evening routine. And I feel like once you do that, you realize that you can make a decision at any point in your day and it can completely shift the entire day. And for me, romanticizing my evenings have really been helpful because even if the day didn't go according as planned, I realized that you can still choose to end it by doing something nice for yourself that is going to fill your bucket and just give you the sort of rest that we were talking about earlier that you need to show up better the next day. Tip number 5 is collect inspiration. One thing that has been pretty game-changing for me when I'm feeling unmotivated is keeping a collection of the little things that remind me of the version of myself that I'm working towards. Or even also keeping ideas that spark my curiosity and that made me feel inspired. For me, currently, that is a Pinterest board where I just pin the dream girl that I want to be, how I want to show up in a room, how I want to feel, how I want my day-to-day to look like. I just have a complete vision board of all of that. And honestly, just seeing that visual reminder in itself has been game-changing. It is just such a simple reminder that that possibility, that reality is real. Even on the days when I feel the most stuck or the most unmotivated, just once again having that visual reminder has been beyond helpful. I also keep a notes app on my phone where I just jot down little ideas that come across my mind throughout the day. I have always been the type of girl who loves poetry. I used to always, my school, for context, had these things called poetry out loud. I don't know if other schools do this, but it's where you memorize a poem and then you recite it in front of your class, and then you can move up and do it regionally and I think nationally, and you can win awards. And since I loved poetry so much, I would always get chosen by my class to advance to present it in front of the school. I never moved on past that, but I was happy enough that me reciting poetry was inspirational and motivating enough that people would vote for me. But anyways, besides the fact, I've always loved poetry and I've always loved inspirational quotes. And so if I come across a quote that I love, I'll write it down in my notes app. I also love writing down any content ideas that I think of that I want to film for you guys. I've also recently been more into cooking recipes. I tend to just cook the same thing over and over again. And so I've been trying to get a little bit more experimental. And so if I think of like a fun recipe that I could make, I'll write it down on my notes app too. I swear our best ideas come to us at such random moments. For me, it's usually in the shower or if I'm driving, it's just random moments. If we don't write them down, usually we tend to forget about them. And I just swear it feels like they're almost as good as gone. But the value in what I'm saying is I love this practice because it actually sparks you to take action. Every single time I pull out my Pinterest and look at my vision board, it makes me look at myself and be more honest with myself. Am I really as dialed into my routine as I say I am? When I look at my notes app and I see a list of content ideas, it makes me want to go and check some of those off. It honestly just feels like this little nudge then and there that sparks you to take action. But once again, the real value in this isn't the Pinterest board itself, isn't the notes app that you're writing in on your phone. It's the space that you're creating for yourself. You are creating a space for you to have a visual reminder of your goals, of what inspires you, of what excites you. And seriously, on those days when motivation feels non-existent, having a space like this to turn to can be so beneficial. I want to finish this video off by saying that you truly have the power to change your life. And it would be such a shame to just go through your day-to-day routine on autopilot, not even feeling present in your life. And I think because of that, you owe it to yourself to sprinkle in little bits of joy and things that make you happy on the day-to-day. And this may sound cheesy, corny, cringy, call it what you want to call it, but the way that we spend our days is the way that we spend our lives. And I just want you to let that sink in for a minute. So if there's anyone watching this that resonated with anything that I said, I hope that this inspired you to take at least a little bit of action to work on yourself, your dreams, your goals, and the person that you're trying to become. I'd love to become a full-time YouTuber, a full-time content creator. So if you guys could give this video a like and subscribe to my channel, honestly, it would mean the world because I can't achieve that goal without the amazing support of people like you. But once again, that is all for now. Just know that I am rooting for you. I believe in you. You got this. Like, you can truly change your life and go after your dreams, your goals. And yeah, that's all for today's video. I love you guys so much, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.